Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Sunday morning, the 28th of January. I had to think about it then. Today we're talking about two cases. We're going to catch up with the three Chiefs fans case. I need to think of something more concise to call them, like the Chiefs 3, or I don't know, but it seems weird calling them the three Chiefs fans, but hey. And also, Stacey Wondra has given another interview. So Stacey Wondra being one of the four suspects in the abduction of then 5-year-old Michael Vaughan from Fruitland, Idaho. And he's given another interview, this time to Hidden True Crime. So we're going to start with that, and then we're going to get into the three Chiefs fans' families who've spoken out more. David Harrington's family have spoken out. Also, Jordan Willis's family have spoken out. That's the video. Let's go. So Stacey Wondra was on Hidden True Crime. Now, I haven't actually got to the end of this interview. I was watching it in the middle of the night, my time. It's currently about 10 a.m. Sunday morning here. And I fell asleep before the end. So I've got a little bit to catch up on this morning. So the host, Lauren, had a co-host who was one of her mods. And they were very good. They were pretty intense, you know, asking him a lot of questions. And Stacey sounded just a little tad rattled. He said something else that he's not said before. Surprise, surprise. About the boy that he saw on Southwest 8th Street. He said that he was Mexican. So let's get the map up and let's look at where Stacey actually was. Now, he said in previous interviews and this one that he saw this boy in a yard, not the sidewalk that he originally said, about 7 to 8 houses down from where they stopped so that Stacey could put power steering fluid in the car. Alrighty, so this is Michael's neighbourhood. Michael lived down here and Stacey and Sarah were living here at the time. Stacey and Sarah Wondra, and Brandon and Adrian were staying with them. Okay, so they'd have come out here, presumably, or they could have come out here, but let's assume they come out here, near this alfalfa field. Let's go down to this neighbourhood and listen to Stacey while we're doing so.
Before we left 8th Street, we pulled off on the right-hand side of Southwest 8th Street and before Arizona, where that big hayfield, alfalfa field is right there.
Southwest 8th. This is Arizona. So they stopped about here.
Yeah, tell us about the boy that you saw.
He was just a nothing unusual stood out. He was just a little boy, or another boy. He wasn't little. He was definitely looked nothing like Michael. He was more dark hair. I don't know how to label other than he was a Mexican. He was a Mexican kid, and shorts and a t-shirt, but he was much more filled in and defined. Like he was probably, had to guess, between 8 and 10.
Down here on the right hand side, they could see a boy playing in a yard 7 to 8 houses down. Now, I know this is Google Maps, not real life, but you can zoom in as far as you can on Google Maps and you can't see 7 to 8 houses down. So this is from November 2022. So let's count the houses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's Washington, 8. So here, around here. So actually the other side of Washington Street. So they were all the way down here. So does Stacey have like ultra good eyesight or what? So let's count these houses again. So we've got two houses here. So this Mexican boy was playing in one of these houses' yards here. You can see him all the way down there. As if. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they were all the way down here. Right, so alfalfa field. Can you see, even zooming in, can you see 7 to 8 houses down? No, me neither. You can see 1, 2, 3 houses down. There's a tree in the way. Now, this is November 2022. That tree would have had leaves on it in July. So no, makes no sense. Makes no sense, Stacey. You're lying again. Okay, let's move on now to the 3 Chiefs fans case. Ricky Johnson's family, who I was calling Ricky Jones in my video the other day, so I apologise for that. I don't know if anyone noticed, but Ricky Johnson's family, his dad spoke out on News Nation and his mother has spoken out as well. But this is David Harrington's family. His partner, who's the mother of his children, was on News Nation. Also, David Harrington's mother was on News Nation. David Harrington's dad has been quoted in the New York Post saying that he's not buying the version of events of Jordan Willis, even though David Harrington's mother has been told that there's nothing untoward that's gone on.
They took Jordan in and they talked to him, and that his story added up. And he hesitated for a minute and said, I'm not really allowed to go into very much, but when it's all released, it's going to make sense. And I thought, how could that make sense? It's only, in my perspective, it was only 2 days after I found out, or a day after I found out. So only a couple days after they saw my son.
They seem to think that something might make sense, which makes me wonder they maybe spotted something when they were in the home that night. Did the detective who talked to you tell you anything about what he saw inside the home? Like, what was on the coffee table? Was there any drug paraphernalia? Anything that made him jump to that whole idea that it will make sense?
No, he didn't say anything, and it didn't sit well with me, what he said, so I called back and talked to, at that time, the main detective that I had been told to talk to, and she somewhat corrected what he said. She said that they were still investigating everything, nothing was determined, that she couldn't tell me anything, but that they hadn't stopped with the investigation.
She also went on to say she's spoken to Alex. So Alex Weimer Lee is the 5th man, and she believes his version of events.
There were 5 men who were together that night. 1 left at midnight, he says. The other was the homeowner, and the 3 victims included your son. Did the detective suggest there might be anybody else involved in at play?
No, it was basically all about Jordan, the conversation. And the person that left early, I've spoken with him, and we had a discussion, and I know that he's telling the truth, that he left early, and that when he left, my son was alive. And he is torn up. He's devastated. He lost 3 of his friends that night. And he wishes that he had stayed or could have done something. But when he left, everything was fine. And so that person has nothing to do with what happened.
So that was on Ashley Banfield. Jordan Willis is under considerable scrutiny. I mean, the families just do not believe him. David Harrington's partner says that she believes that David was murdered, for sure.
We're dealing with it and we're learning from it. I don't know what's going to come up. I don't know if Jordan gave them something like they're talking about. I don't know if Jordan did give him something, but whatever comes up in it, David did not intentionally do that. David was murdered, whether it's a drug or it has to be for 3 men to be dead. It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense to have 3 men dead laying in the yard and him asleep for 48 hours.
She hates the things that are being said about the three that died on social media.
I get to look at all the crap that's not true about him, and it hurts because that's not him.
It's easy for me to
Whenever-
say, don't look at it, but I know it's suffocating. And I know that you have to balance what you're being exposed to with what you tell the kids.
So I'm pretty open with my kids, and I've told them, and they obviously see on TikTok and such. TikTok's terrible. People are laughing about it, and well, they're laughing because they don't know the people.
Meanwhile, Jordan Willis's family are standing behind him, saying that he's grieving the loss of his friends in this bizarre case. Jordan Willis's dad told the New York Post on Thursday he would never in a million years do anything. They were all good friends of his. They were all people he went to school with, and he took them to a football game the day before for the Chiefs. And apparently he'd bought them all tickets for the next game, so does he like to flash his cash? I mean, maybe he has nothing to do with it. Maybe he genuinely didn't know. Maybe he was genuinely asleep for 2 days. Which leads me to the obvious conclusion that they all took something voluntarily or maybe not voluntarily. Maybe they thought they were taking something mild and it was laced. But if Jordan genuinely slept for 2 days, there's something wrong there. Something wrong with this story. No one's buying the version of events that is being put out there by Jordan's lawyer. Like, Jordan's not spoken out directly. It's the lawyer, John Picerno, who is created so much havoc in this case by his inconsistencies and keep changing versions of events. He's made Jordan look guilty when he may not be. Or he may be. He may be lying through his teeth. It remains to be seen. But the police seem to be buying what he's laying down here. We've got to wait for those all-important autopsy results and toxicology to come back. I think we're all desperate to find out what those guys had ingested beforehand. It doesn't tell us why they ingested whatever it was. If it was, it doesn't tell us the motivation of them taking it voluntarily or not. But at least it'll tell us what, won't it? Alright, that's all. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.